was your first week of school?
You are now listening to the Motivated Mama podcast. This is a community for parents that want to be authentically themselves while looking for judgment-free, genuine, and heartfelt parenting advice. We talk to other mothers and experts to get small, easy steps that we can take to help us accomplish our goals. Learn with me as we discover ways to break patterns of unproductive behavior repeated generation after generation in our families. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of The Motivated Mama with me, your host, Sydney Ross, The Motivated Mama. So today we are discussing mom life. So hashtag mom life, but it's not at all what you think it's about. It's not about focusing on mom life. It's actually going to be about focusing around who you are outside of that role. So I feel like as moms or even full-time parents in general, we base our whole lives and our full identities off of being a parent. And that can be a very sad thing when you actually lose yourself in parenting. I feel like a lot of times I find myself doing that because the work that I do is based on parenting and my daily parenting journey. So I know personally it has become very easy for me to lose my true identity while being a mom. So let's get into this discussion. Who are you outside of motherhood or parenthood? I asked this question in the Motivated Mama Facebook group, and a lot of the answers that I received were like roles that people play, not really who you identify as, like who your true being is, the true essence of you as a human. You know, a lot of people just started stating all the different roles that they play in life, such as, you know, their jobs, their careers. You know, I'm a mother, I'm a sister, I'm a cousin, I'm a birth worker. I'm, you know, like just a lot of general roles. But sadly, I did not receive any comments saying like who a person truly feels like they are. Like, I didn't see a lot of, I'm a creator. You know, I infuse joy into my life daily. You know, like I'm a magical being. I'm a sexual being. All the things that you should be proud of yourself for being. I didn't see any of that. It was more just what role do you play in day to day life? And so when you ask yourself that question, which I want you all to do, really think about who you are as a being, as a human. What do you consist of? If you were a recipe, what would that recipe look like? What are the ingredients to create you? That's what I mean, you know, to get into the true essence of who you are as a being. So what does that look like for you? Who are you outside of motherhood? Because I know for myself, that's a really difficult question for me to answer. You know, it's hard for me because my passion and my joys all revolve around parenting, but I actually had to break this question down in order to answer it myself. But in order to get you all's answers as well, I had to break it down differently to see what people actually really thought and what they really felt. So I posted again in the Motivated Mama today, which is like a week from the last post that I made. And this time I posted, why is it important for you to have an identity outside of parenting? So, you know, I had some people who said they feel like they didn't have much of an identity before becoming a parent. They didn't do much. You know, that's one thing that was hard for me. I could relate to that because I've been a parent since I was 19. So before parenthood, I was a child essentially. You know, like I can name all the fun things that I love doing, but I hadn't even hit a point where I found myself or knew, you know, what my passions were or had any true goals in life. Like, I had just graduated high school. Life had no huge meaning. It was just party and have fun. Like, I'm just now getting introduced into real life. So I can relate to that, saying, like, honestly, I don't know who I was before being a parent, because I was a kid before being a parent. So if you had children early, or even if you were a teen parent, that might be a hard question to answer, you know, but a lot of other people did say why it is important for you to have an identity outside of parenting. I had one person who said, for their sanity, you know, she said, I didn't attempt self care until after the infant stage, but as they have grown, so has my independence. So, it is important for your sanity to have an identity outside of parenting, because when you lose yourself, you kind of walk through day-to-day life like a zombie, or you feel like you're just somebody's servant. You don't really feel like you're doing much for self. You're just there to wait on others, which, as a stay-at-home mom, I can definitely, relate to that, feeling like, okay, I feel like I'm just been placed on this earth to serve everyone but myself. So that can be a really hard pill to swallow. So it is important for you to have an identity, just so you can stay sane, or just so you can feel human. And another person said they think it's good for your mental health. It also helps your child see who you are and what you do that can inspire them. It's not always easy. So, yeah, I can definitely agree with that. I think, it is important, so that way your children can see what it is, or they can be inspired to be their true selves. Um, so, yeah, that was a really good answer. Another one says, it is important to remember who you were before you were a parent, how you bonded with your friends, your self care routines, and engaged in your favorite hobbies. Your children need to see that you are prioritizing your needs so that you can pour into them from a full cup. So we always hear that phrase, you cannot pour from an empty cup, which is so true. And we actually had this discussion at another event that I was at, that is so much easier said than done. But your children do need to see that you prioritize yourself, so that way, not only so that you are able to continue to pour into your family and they receive the best version of you, but so that way your family can see that that is a healthy thing for them to be partaking into or doing themselves, or your children know, once they become parents, they continue those healthy habits. So for me, my answer to this question is, I feel like it's important for you to have an identity outside of parenting, so that way you can be true to your complete self and fill your spirit with everything that you need to fill your spirit with, so that way you can enjoy life. Nobody wants to go through life every day upset, stressed, depressed, feeling like you have no purpose, feeling like you have no meaning. So I feel like it's important to establish an identity outside of parenting. If you haven't established an identity outside of parenting, figure out the things that you truly like doing. I'm big on trying new things. So even if it's something small going on in my community or around town, or if we take a trip out of town, I've tried to always experience things that I've never experienced before, because you never know what you can end up growing to love. So that's one way that I feel like, I kind of stay true to myself, is just by exploring life. Like, that's what fills my cup. That's what gives me life. And I feel like it's important to do that, because I feel like we are just here to enjoy our time here. And I don't want to take that for granted. And I don't want to feel like I'm wasting my time that I'm alive. So I feel like, just for myself, it's important for me to have my identity so that way I'm getting the most out of my life. The second question that I asked everyone was, how do you feel your children benefit from you having your own identity outside of parenting? So one mom said, I think it's important to have something to do outside of parenting so that way they don't feel like I'm tied to them. So even if she's just doing her own thing, she believes it's important for your children to see this and they benefit from this because then they don't feel like they have to be attached to you, which is really a good thing because it's easy for kids to be extremely attached to parenting because you're their comfort zone. But it does let them know that they don't have to be tied to you. It doesn't make them feel like they're obligated. I know several parents who sadly don't have a life outside of their children. And sometimes your children may need that space, especially as they begin to grow older. I have a 10-year-old who doesn't feel the need to be up under me all of the time. She wants to have her time with her friends and to do things that she likes to do. And I would never want her to feel like I need her here with me, doing things with me constantly in order for me to feel comfortable. So I feel like that's a really great point that she made. Another one said, my children get a more stable, happier mother. They get a mom and not a zombie. They get to see how to have a healthy relationship without being tied to the hip, and in turn gives them a sense of independence. So, kind of piggybacking off of that last one, it gives them a sense of independence and they get to see a better version of you and receive a better version of you as a parent. Another person said, I think it's important to have your own identity and your kids are able to see it so they experience more things, whether it's entrepreneurial skills or artistic skills, not just books and play. So, you can actually be a inspiration to your children to go out and try new things or seek adventure or, you know, maybe what you do inspires them and they might want to do those same things that they see their parents do. So that is a really, really good one. It helps your children kind of establish an identity of their own. Someone else said, I think it helps your child see that if there is anything they want to accomplish in life, they can achieve it. She said, my son gets to see me in my element. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, I think it is kind of dope when your children get to see a different version of you. You're not just mom. Like, that would empower me, like if I had a parent, which my parents just worked, like regular, they worked at Ford Motor Company. So they didn't necessarily work, entrepreneurial jobs or like did anything like that. But my mom has always been a baker, and she's always baked, cakes and pies and cookies and all types of things. And she's always been a really good cook. So much so that, like, during the holidays, people buy like lots and lots of products from her and out of parent mode to see it is inspiring to see your parents and it inspires you to do things that you love to do and them actually doing something that they love. Like the last mom said, it may even, inspire them to do the things that you do. Now that's something that I do with my children because I love seeing her in that element because it's something that I was able to experience, seeing her not stressed out and not crazy and not just in mom mode all the time. It actually brought her relief. And that was, refreshing for me to see as a child. Another mother said, your child receives from the excess when you are whole. You can pour into your child from a full and an overflowing cup, not an empty cup. When you aren't taking care of yourself, your child almost becomes a tick mark on a to-do list. Wow. I feel like that was really deep that, your kid does just become a part of the daily routine. So it is good for your children to experience you as a whole being versus a stressed out, crazy person, because then they may not feel like they're necessarily like a person that you love to take care of. They may just see themselves as another part of your day. So I feel like that one was pretty heavy. So I feel like my children benefit from me having my own identity outside of parenting because they are able to see and experience me as a different person. And when I say that, I mean my children are able to see me as my authentic self, not just as a mom. And I want my children to see me as that because I feel like a lot of times as your children get older, they may not feel like you understand a lot of things because they're so used to seeing you in parent mode. They're so used to seeing you do all the mommy things and having, the fun mommy moments and cooking and cleaning and helping with homework and almost like a nanny essentially. And they see that as your whole being. Well, when it comes to real life situations, if they don't see you in those type of moments and they don't get to experience you being your authentic self, they may take that as this is who you are and this is all you are. And they may not feel comfortable coming to you, with real life situations because they may feel like you don't have a clue what's going on because your whole world is your home. Your household is your whole entire world. So I want my children to see me as my authentic self so that way they're comfortable coming to me and they're comfortable talking to me and we can actually have a different kind of relationship as they get older. Not necessarily I have to be my child's friend, but as when they're adults, I may not be looked at as just mommy because they're not going to necessarily need me in that capacity anymore. So I want them to be able to experience me as a whole being. And the last question I asked was, what do you do to make sure you're staying true to yourself and upholding your personal identity? So we can talk about, why it's important and who it benefits, but are you actively practicing this? Are you actively doing things to feed into yourself, to pour into yourself, to make sure you're upholding your personal identity? So one lady said that, her husband makes sure that she takes time for herself, which is very generous of him. And it's really good if you do have, a spouse or a partner who supports you in that way that, they may notice that you're getting into the routine of things and that's just becoming, you and they want you to get back to being the you before you had kids together. So if you have someone in your life that gives you that extra push, that is such a blessing to have. So that's really nice that her husband makes sure that she's, taking time for herself. So that's awesome. Another mom says, I keep a hobby just for me. Carve out a chunk of time each day just for me. I have let go of the constant need to be the perfect mom. That is a really good one. And I applaud that because so many of us get so hung. All are like fighting for this title up, especially, us in these mom groups and things like that. We are to be the perfect parent, and there's no such thing. None of us know exactly what we're doing. Nothing is exactly right. Everybody does something different. And there's no handbook. And we are constantly trying to fight for this title of being the perfect parent. And there's no such thing as the perfect parent. So, making sure that you have time for yourself to get away from being a mom or being a parent is very important. Um, Making sure that you have time for your hobbies. So if that means 20 minutes a day, you're going to do something that you love to do. Or once a week, you're going to take time to go hang out with your friends or whatever you need to do. That's really good that you're putting aside time for yourself to do things that you like to do. Um, let's see. Another mom says, in my free time, I enjoy leading a ministry. It's called Flowers Blooming Events Ministry. And she said, we host events to love on and bless special needs families with food, fellowship, games, and uplifting each other in prayer. It makes my heart warm. And I want my son to be able to see the importance of service to others in the community. So basically, being a servant to her community is what makes her feel good. That's what gives her joy and brings her joy and makes her feel useful in life. So that's pretty dope. She makes sure that she does that. And it's something that she can do on her own and also involve her children in. So that's really cool. Another mom says, I'm learning to prioritize myself and listen to what my body needs. Sometimes we as parents are overwhelmed and overstimulated, just like our kids are. We need to be okay with saying, I need a break without judgment, guilt, or criticism. I'm finding myself walking away so that I can decompress versus staying and blowing up. If you got to lock yourself in that bathroom for a few minutes, then do what you got to do. I think that is really great. I love how she said, listen to what my body needs, because I feel like so many of us as parents do not stop when our body is clearly telling us to stop. And stress is a silent killer, and you will get sick and worn down so quickly because you're stressed out and you're not listening to what your body needs. So, mamas, that means if you need a nap, take a nap. If you need help, say you need help. Stop silently waiting for people to come to your rescue, because sometimes people aren't going to offer it. Like, I used to get upset that I felt like I used to always have to tell my husband, I need a break. Or if I didn't say it, he wouldn't offer it. But at the end of the day, so many times, especially men, they think that we just have it under control because we do this all of the time as mothers. So we can be dying inside, but they feel like we're superwoman and we're just making shit happen all of the time because we're not saying something and we make it look easy. We really do. We make things look so easy and effortless when we're really struggling secretly. So open your mouth, say what you need, take time, tell your kids, mama needs a minute, go buy that book and read it to them. It's literally a book called Mama Needs a Minute. And it's an easy way to explain to your kids that I still love you, but I need my space. So that is really good. And especially when she said, I'm learning to walk away. Yes, walk away. Walk away from stress. Walk away from things that no longer serve you. Walk away from things that make you crazy. Um, Things that may make you step out of your true identity. You know, give those things a break. So for me, how do I stay true to myself and upholding my personal identity? I try my best to feel like just because I'm a mom does not mean that I have to change who I am because I'm a mom, or because certain things seem more appropriate because I'm a mom. I'm a mother. I had children. That does not mean that I'm a saint all of a sudden and that I don't get to be who I am, because I actually love who I am. I love the way that I speak. I love the way that I look. I love the way that I dress. I love the fun activities that I do outside of the things that I do for my children. That my interests are meaningful to me. And I don't feel like because I'm a parent that now all of a sudden I have to let go of those things because it looks good or it sounds good. No, because I wouldn't want my children to let go of who they are, of their true selves, because that's what looks good to the rest of the world. I'm not going to sacrifice my happiness or my true identity for the satisfaction of others, because this is my journey in life. It's not everybody else's walk, and they have their own walk. They have their own path. So I don't see why it's my job to change who I am to please somebody else who's not on my path. So that's what I try to stick to. I'm a mom and I have a potty mouth. I cuss a lot. And you all know that because I've done it on the podcast a lot. And any moms who have come in contact with me have realized that and they know that. And I don't feel like I should have to change that about myself because I have children. I try to explain to my children, you can be disrespectful without even using profanity. Just because I use bad words or words that have been considered bad or not tasteful, that doesn't mean that I'm being rude or nasty or disrespectful to others. That's just my verbiage. And I could use all regular words that are not considered bad words and still hurt somebody's feelings and make somebody feel bad and bring somebody's day down. So, the words that we choose, you could choose a lot of different words and they all have meaning. So, I can cuss all day and that can uplift somebody and make somebody laugh because 99% of the time, that's what it does. So you just have to, it's about how you say things and how you use words. And I try to explain that to my kids. I use cuss words to uplift my children, and I mean, it sounds crazy, but my daughter, one of the number one affirmations I use for her every day is celebrate the good and fuck the bad. And that makes her feel good. And that's a great thing that makes her feel good because she feels like she can pay attention to everything that's good because all that bad shit don't matter. So, I try to make sure to just enjoy every part of what makes putting on me each and every day. So if that means funny earrings or mix matching my clothes or coloring a crazy picture of cat butts or saying what the fuck jokes, that's what I'm going to do because that's what makes me feel happy. And I want my children to know that, fuck anybody's judgment. At the end of the day, it's your life. Do what makes you essentially feel happy and feel good and satisfied when you go to bed at night. So that's what it is, you guys. So I just hope that moms and parents listen to this episode and they feel uplifted to wake up tomorrow and choose a different path, to know that you don't have to be stuck on mom, and mom is just one of the hats that you wear. It's not, your full identity. It's just, one of the things that you do, and you've been chosen to be a mom, which is a beautiful thing, but you were also yourself before you were a mother, and you don't want to lose sight of that. And just know that everybody in the world benefits from you being your authentic self. And you should celebrate who you are every single day and do things that you love. And don't get stuck on mom life and mom mode or trying to be the perfect mom. Just do you. And that's what makes you the perfect mom, is doing you and being that great example for your children. So thank you guys so much for listening to this amazing episode of the Motivated Mama podcast. Until next time, see you guys later. If you want to submit a question or if you want to be on the show, message me at contact@momamapodcast.com. That's MOMAMA podcast.com. Please tell all the moms you know about the podcast, our Facebook group, YouTube channel, and community events. Your recommendation helps our show grow. Please rate and review us wherever you listen to our podcast.